What's up, boys? This is Astranox Showcase of Belian in Guild War this time. So we're going right in there, the stats of Belian and her gear, as well as the stats of the other heroes in the teams are at the end of the video. So this battle right here, we have a lot of AoE attacks, which is good. We got counter set and Elbrus Ritual Sword on Belian, so a lot of chances for those sweet counter attacks hitting everyone. So that could lead to a lot of damage. They don't have any sustain. So we could technically just grind them down unless we take loads of damage. And well, you guys know about Arbiter Vildred with Alexa's Basket, right? And you know, Cerise triggering Doa attacks, let's say with him, or maybe Cerise triggering a Doa attack with Carrot triggering the burn. So we need to cleanse that off. And what I don't like with Belian is that with her current build, she doesn't have enough health, I would say. 20,000 looks good, right? But she's got speed main stat boots. And I would definitely prefer her with health percentage main stat boots, because she would deal more damage and I wouldn't have to stress out when her health dips low. So we can see that we're dealing a ton of damage here, but Arbiter Vildred, he got greater attack buff, right? With his skill 1 just before, and he comes back with great attack buff again, dealing loads of damage. And that was kind of close. Like, we took so much damage. I don't feel comfortable with the amount of health that Belian has. Look at Angelique Montmorency. Yeah, that's pretty close. I don't like that. That's a really risky one right there. So the damage is good, like I talked about, you know, when I showcased her in Arena. My next video will be Belian in RTA. Of course, those type of videos, they take longer to get out because she's gonna get banned a bunch of times, guys. Like, or they will, you know, there's gonna be counters against Belian, so I can't really bring her. I'm gonna have to pick her near the end. Maybe other players actually pick her before I actually pick her. There's all sorts of issues, so, you know, it's gonna be the next video. Now, Belian, of course, I did talk about her weaknesses, right? It's a strong single target attacker. Like, if she receives a lot of single target damage, it could definitely be rough because, well, if you don't have good survivability on her, especially if you don't have the defense buff on her yet, you have her built slow on counter set, so you probably won't have that much speed, and there's a pretty high chance that the enemy is just gonna unload a bunch of damage at you. And if they have, especially more than one single target damage dealer, and you're playing RTA and they're just singling out, you know, Belian, that could definitely be problematic. So you're gonna have to stack those layers of protection. You're gonna have to have like Aureus. You're gonna need, you know, maybe an Adamant Shield too. Defense buff, like if you can get defense buff up between their damage dealers, put the defense buff up before they deal the damage, that would be optimal, of course. Now, if you want to rely on the defense buff of Belian, that means you need to build speed on her, which is going to be rough. And she's really hard to itemize. Like, you need so many stats on her. And to be honest, like, I would prefer dropping... That's the thing. I would have to test her out with less damage. That means, like, I wouldn't have to build so much crit chance, and I would have to drop the crit damage. And I think she definitely needs more effectiveness, so her debuffs are more reliable. Now, when it comes down to Guild War and RTA, there's no frenzy giving you free effectiveness as the battle, you know, goes on and the frenzy goes up. So that's an issue. It's an issue, and yeah, having effectiveness, more effectiveness means you need more stats on her, which means you're gonna have to sacrifice other stuff. So if you have on a counter set with immunity, let's say, well, you can definitely drop the speed, which I have quite a bit of. You'll see at the end of the video when I show you guys her stats. And so that's one thing. Like, speed is hard to get. Speed, you know, yeah, definitely I would have, what is it? Like maybe 23,000 health if I had health percentage main stat boost. Maybe 24,000 if I had better substats. And I sacrificed the speed on some of my substats for better survivability, health, defense. I would feel more comfortable with that. And the crit chance, I could drop that to, let's say, 50% and sort of like rely on the crit chance buff because she gets a random buff from her passive. That could definitely be one way to go about it. And then you reserve the souls for when you get the crit chance buff and then you soul burn skill 1. That's good. I feel like that could be really good. But yeah, she would need better survivability, better effectiveness, because it's quite crucial that you are able to land her debuffs. The provoke, the speed down, the decreased hit chance from skill 1, or the provoke is on skill 3. the removal of one of their buff with skill 1 at a 65% chance, that's all real nice. But if the enemy has high effect resistance, maybe they have like 100 effect resistance, and you have less than 100, effectiveness, then it's not gonna be so good. Like you definitely want her to reliably land her debuffs, at least, not like 100% reliably, but at least against some damage dealers, right? Heroes that don't actually have like 250, 300 effect resistance built on them, of course. So that would, I feel better if she was built like that. And on my build, I do have some attack. It does boost her damage, but I think you definitely want to sacrifice damage to bring more survivability and more effectiveness on her. So in these battles here, well, the first battle, there's a lot of AoE attack again, which is what I like. And it could be dangerous. Like the great attack buff from Arbiter Vildred could, deal too much damage against us. Look at that. I got debuffs landing on my Angelic Montmorency. She's built with like, what is it, like very close to 250% effect resistance. And she got stunned. She got stunned, and I have Unhealable on my team. That's brutal. For Angelic Montmorency, it is very, very bad right now because she cannot take off the Unhealable with her skill 2. She cannot do it with her skill number 3. I can't do it. I gotta leave this thing. Look at that. Like, Belian dealt so much damage that Arbiter Vildred went down already, and I cannot stabilize. So, like, the damage that's coming my way, I have to get out of there. If I don't get out, she goes down. So I have to keep her for the next battle. So, Guild War, the issue in there is that you cannot keep a hero alive that is a bit too squishy. 20,000 health with the amount of defense that I have without having defense buff on my team is too squishy, because I need to buy enough time for a team to actually, I need to survive the damage. I need to survive up until turn number 2. But in a lot of cases, the enemy with the Cerise, they're gaining like more than 1 round of attacks. They're getting maybe a round and a half, almost 2 rounds of attacks from their heroes. And now to keep your team alive, you don't have 4 heroes. So that means like it's rough to actually bring like a Knight with Aureus plus your damage dealer and then your Soul Weaver. And now with the stun and Unhealable that happened from Armintha, like that's too much. I can't sustain the team. So like Angelic Montmorency was a wasted slot right there. If I had a hero that could reliably cleanse, cleanse all debuffs, right? That could have been a game-winning move right there. But that was not the case, and Cerise removed the immunity anyways. So yeah, I wanted to bring her in there and see how it goes. Also, another problem with Belian is that in Guild War, of course, the meta heroes right now are quite devastating against her. Now, Green Violet, right? He's a single target damage dealer. He deals a lot of damage. She's quite deadly. And then her constant stream of single target attacks, AoE attacks from Belian, it's good and all, but she always attacks everyone. So you can expect a lot of counter attacks in your face. All sorts of like counter mechanism built in Green Violet. All sorts of heroes have that, right? Martial artists can, especially Dark versus Light. He could definitely be very dangerous. And then you gotta worry about all heroes on counter set, Elbrus Ritual Sword. So she can definitely take a round of attacks, and it could be really, really dangerous. So that's why, another reason why she should have health percentage on the main stats of her boots instead of having speed. It's just because I don't have a pair of boots with that just yet. But I'd feel so much more comfortable if she did have that. So in a Guild War format, 3v3, it is definitely rough to actually have, good survivability, those layers of protection, plus having a hero to sustain your team. Or you have to go with, like, something like a team of tanky bruisers, right? And then you're able to survive all the damage coming your way, and then you can retaliate and take them out without running a Soul Weaver. But usually when you run that, you gotta be confident that you can pull it off, right? And then maybe you might have one of your hero on a lifesteal set or something like that. They can replenish their own health. Or you can be sure that at least one of their heroes is gonna go down fairly fast. But I don't have these type of heroes built on that account. This is my 3rd account on the Europe server. We're facing a guild right now. We're rank 80, I think. So yeah, this guild is actually pretty rough. I do like to attack at the end of the Guild War, so usually the players that are left are even tougher to take out. So yeah, it's pretty rough. So I'm not bringing her in optimal battles. Like right here, Apocalypse Ravi is a single target damage dealer. She's got sustain. Right there is Crow that could potentially horse her. And effect resistance is going to be very high on Maid Chloe usually. Crow could have some decent effect resistance. Apocalypse Ravi, she's on Strike Gauntlet, so that's 60% effect resistance right there. Look at that. Skill 3, nothing landed. No provoke. No provoke at all. They all resisted the provoke. So looks like they're all on a pretty high effect resistance. So if she's got like, she doesn't have much effectiveness, right? Like 50, 60, that's going to be wasted versus a team that doesn't, that does have high, well, not even high, a decent amount of effect resistance. If they have like 100 plus and you're running 50, 60, like it's gonna go to waste. Look at all the counter attacks. I'm dealing a lot of damage against them, but they're really tanky. Apocalypse Ravi is not a hero I can take down easy. Crow with the Aureus is just super tanky. Maid's not that tanky, but she's got a nice balance of health and defense plus a defense buff. So yes, she's really rough to take out. Multiple layers of protection on their team, and that's quite brutal. Like you can see that the numbers are not that high because I'm fighting a team with defense buff that have high amount of damage mitigation. Apocalypse Ravi, you know, even if I'm doing a bunch of counter attacks and they're taking a bunch of damage, look at that, like constant counter attacks, but I can't take them out in time. And you know, like that's the problem. I should have brought like a strong single target damage dealer instead of Rem here. Demon mode on Rem, so maybe I can pull something off there. But Apocalypse Ravi is definitely super deadly. So look at that. With the injury, I bring back Belian, and now she lost like 20% of her maximum health, and she keeps on losing. She's getting her maximum health destroyed. So I wanted to test her out in there versus an Apocalypse Ravi. I knew that it would be bad. I wanted to see how bad it would be. And of course, I realized that without having enough effectiveness, all those sweet debuffs are going to waste. So that's one. And then there's like the fact that she's attacking everyone, that means you're going to be triggering counter attacks. So she's taking a bunch of extra damage to her face. And with the injury building up on her, it's rougher and rougher every time I bring her back with a revive, right? So that's pretty brutal. Look at this Maid Chloe just surviving with like a sliver of health with defense break. I can't take her down. Oh my god, I should have committed on her earlier. And that was a mistake. Also, Rem, oh boy, she had demon form, demon mode, whatever. She had it, and I missed my opportunity. I had a chance to soul burn. Actually, I couldn't soul burn. I was missing one soul to actually do the soul burn with her skill 1 when she was in demon form to guarantee a kill, or at least, yeah, something like that. And I could have maybe done that versus Maid Chloe, but she had revive buff on herself, and she's cycling like crazy. So I bring Belian back, and then she doesn't have much health left after all the injury she took. So that is brutal right there, very brutal. So yeah, single target damage dealers will be eating her alive. You definitely don't want to bring her in all type of situations. And in the meta right now, the Guild War defenses are dangerous because there's a lot of high damage. Like a lot of teams with like high speed, let's say, and they're running like Arbor of Eldritch series plus another damage dealer, or if the defense is running a hero that doesn't trigger a counter attack like Landy. Landy is another, like if there's a team with Landy, you probably don't want to bring Belian in there if you want to rely on counter attacks. That's not going to be so good. But yes, after Landy uses the skill number 3, she's going to start to do single target attacks, and you could, you know, trigger some counter attacks. So maybe I should have tried that out. I should have tried her versus Landy. So yeah, I'll be trying that probably in RTA, future Guild War or something like that. But it was just way too much damage that she took, right? It's just way too much. So it was all good and well, triggering a bunch of counter attacks from herself, even Rem. but they were able to sustain themselves. Like Apocalypse Ravi, she's got the self-sustain. Maid Chloe mostly healing Crow plus herself, which actually ends up being like really nice sustain. It works out pretty well for them, and they have enough effect resistance to resist all kind of debuffs. Missed the opportunity to actually guarantee a stun and to another extra attack with skill 1 of Ram, because I didn't have the souls to do the soul burn. I should have saved souls. I was consuming souls to soul burn Belian's skill 1 constantly, which I should have saved for Ram. So yeah, of course, mistakes were made. Now, if you really want to use Belian and you're fighting in a guild that is running meta team compositions on their defense, then you're not going to have too many opportunities. Like, there's a lot of teams that will have a hero that counters her, or if you do bring her in there, yes, you can definitely win, but straight off the gate, like, you're not at advantage. You are at disadvantage, and that's sad. Now, if I had, let's say, more health on her, I feel like it would have been much better. Not only she would have been dealing more damage with those counter attacks, I wouldn't have to stress and heal her. Like, I mean, yes, heal her I would have to, but she wouldn't be dipping as low as she was, right? Now, of course, that's a big no-no to fight against an Apocalypse Ravi. So if you're going to be picking Belian, you know, in RTA, even near the end, and they decide to pick an Apocalypse Ravi, it's going to be a rough battle, man. Like, Apocalypse Ravi, Belian cannot take her out. That's why I had to bring another damage dealer, because by herself, she wouldn't be able to pull it off. So that's another thing to worry about. And ML Ken, she can definitely get countered to the face multiple times. And that's going to be it. Like, she won't be able to take him out because she's going to have to bring him from 50 to 0. Which she could potentially do with, like, if she has a 100% crit chance, or you use the crit chance buff, and then you pop the skill 1. Even that doesn't work, because you need to, let's say you soul burn skill 1, which is going to guarantee the extra attack, but ML Ken's going to counter attack before the extra attack that you do with the skill 1. So he's going to be able to replenish his own health. If you have defense buff, she's going to have pretty good, you know, damage mitigation, so he's not going to be healing that much, but still, he's going to heal enough for himself to survive that extra attack you're going to do. And ML Ken, if he's built on high effect resistance, then he's going to be resisting all your debuffs. Provoke, speed down, decrease hit chance, and you won't be able to strip his, you know, his immunity, his attack buff. So it's pretty brutal. A lot of heroes are built with pretty high amount of effect resistance, you know, in higher leagues, especially when they play the Bruiser playstyle. And if they have enough hero to sustain, if they're running one Soul Weaver that is high speed, high effect resistance, that Soul Weaver could pretty much, like, heal their whole team during the whole battle. If, let's say, an Angelique Montmorency, just as an example, she heals based on the target's maximum health, right? So if the rest of your team is built super tanky and that Angelique Montmorency is, like, let's say 15, 16, 17,000 health with decent defense, 250% effect resistance up to like 300. You're gonna need some pretty crazy gear. Maybe you have to sacrifice some speed to pull that off, of course. But she's gonna be healing based on your allies' max health, and if they're built with like at least 20, 25, around 25,000 health, she's gonna be healing for so much, which means Belian is not gonna be able to take out a team with a healer that just cycles so fast like Angelique Montmorency. So it's brutal. Or a team with double Soul Weavers, you're going to be in the struggles there. A team that has strong single target damage dealer. A team that has heroes that cannot trigger counter attacks. Spectre Tenebria, you know, Landy, like especially a Pavel that with the big burst damage. You know, he could single-handedly take out a Belian if she's not built tanky enough. Even if they have Aureus, I guess. So quite a few things to worry about. She's going to be a hero that's hard to position, like, you won't be able to bring her versus a lot of teams. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, she's got quite a few cons. She definitely has a lot of pros, big damage overall throughout the battle, but is not going to be enough to guarantee taking out someone by herself. She's going to need to be paired with like another bruiser, another damage dealer. So yeah, things to think about, right? But if they don't have sustain, they're trying to cleave you, she stays alive. you're going to be having success with her. They're not getting souls. Tagil's Ancient Book doesn't work. So, of course, that works well. But using her versus a solid, like a really solid tanky team with especially multiple layers of protection, or a double Soul Weaver comp, or like I said, one Soul Weaver that cycles fast and heals the allies based on their maximum health, and they're all tanky, or a team that has a lot of counter set and Elbrus Ritual Sword, it's going to be rough. So you got to be careful and pick her versus the right team. Stay tuned for the RTA showcase, guys. That's it for this one. I'm Astranox. Good luck with all ya do. Peace out for now.